Alright, what's up everybody? My name is Hannah and I am here to review EF Ultimate Breaks trips. I have been on 2 now and I just want to give you guys a rundown of how they work and why I am also planning my 3rd and 4th and 5th trip with them. They're so amazing and I can't wait for you guys to use EF Ultimate Break and to look at their trips. And obviously got a link for you and a code. You can get $100 off with my code UAHannah100. I have loved this company, love the trips I've been on, so I'll just go ahead and get right into it. You're probably asking, you know, like what is EF Ultimate Break? So how I usually describe it to my friends is it's this really cool company. You can be anywhere from 18 to I think like 32 or 33 years old to take these trips, and they have trips all over the world. They have like 65 plus trips on their website. Check them out. They travel literally everywhere. They take you to some amazing places that I would not ever plan myself, and it's really fun to get on their website and just kind of play around with everywhere they go. I have been on the Italy and Greece trip, and then just got back recently from my Costa Rica trip, so that was really fun. And then I'm going to Egypt in May. Again, none of these places, I mean, yeah, they've been on my bucket list, but I feel like I don't have the resources and I don't have the knowledge to plan these out myself. So it has been really fun to go with a group that just kind of plans everything. They book your flights, hotels, transportation to and from the airport and all around the cities. And they plan a tour guide with you that actually sometimes lives in that city or is very knowledgeable about the location you're traveling to. This makes it really easy for you to just show up and meet everybody and to go on this trip. One of the first things you'll probably ask is when you're on this site, like, okay, obviously these are pretty costly, how do you afford these? Obviously a lot of saving and traveling is my passion, so I feel like I'm okay spending that money because I know I will never get that time and those experiences back, and I want to you know, always put my money into those experiences rather than material things. That's just me. I know everybody's different. The second part is EF has amazing payment plans. So you just put like $150 down when they first ask you to make a payment and you sign up for the trip. And then after that, you can either do monthly payments, you could do bi-weekly, you can make, you know, any lump sum type of payment anytime you want. So if you get, you know, some birthday money, Christmas money, which is exactly what I did, I just would throw money at my trip whenever I could. And I booked it far enough advance where I'd have 5 to 8 months to pay down the trip. So each payment each month was, you know, a couple $100. So definitely made that happen. You don't have any interest, so you don't have to worry about racking up even more money. You're just paying off the trip itself, again, with very little down. They make it very easy, you know, for you to travel. Even there's a lot of college students, there's a lot of people that just are going right after school, maybe don't have money from their, you know, first job yet, but EF makes it to where anybody can go and save up for these trips. So that's what I really admire about them a lot. Also, I would say, my little plug, if you haven't heard of Acorns, then I would definitely research a little bit more about it. Acorns is a great way to save up some money for these trips. And basically all you gotta do, go to their website to learn more. I'm sure they have tutorials and videos for you to learn, but in a nutshell, it is a way to save your extra spare change from any purchase you make. So I hook it up to my debit card and my 2 credit cards, and anytime I swipe either of my credit cards or anytime I make a withdrawal from my checking account, it rounds up that change. So let's say I spend $1.50 somewhere, it'll take that 50 cents and it'll basically put it in this savings account for you in Acorns. It also puts it in the market, so you do get a little return on investment there. I have made, you know, some money through that, and you can take out this money at any time. Next thing I want to talk about is the groups I've been with, because you're probably looking and seeing, oh my gosh, that's a very big age range, 18 to 32. For my first trip, there was a couple of them were 18, 19, you know, young 20s, and, you know, most of us were mid 20s, I believe, and maybe a couple upper 20s. And then my second trip, most of us were the upper 20s and even young 30s. I know the older ones was 32, 33, so it was really cool to see the variety of just who all can go on these trips. So it's welcome to anybody, and that's what makes it fun. You know, you can kind of pick and choose who you'd like to spend more time with. You know, you do a lot of things with a group, and the activities and the excursions all of us signed up for, so you get to know everybody throughout the trips. But of course there's going to be people you gravitate towards more often, and that's kind of who you hang out with. And speaking of that, the rooming situation. So I'll show you some examples of what is it looks like to room with EF. I mean, obviously, you know, I've been in different hotels, hostels, you know, all the way to, you know, staying right in the city to 30-45 minutes away from the city in some situations. My first trip to Italy and Greece, there was, you know, bunk beds and very little space. Obviously, Italy and Greece, if you've been there, you know the rooms are very tiny, even in Europe in general. So not a ton of room, but honestly, it worked for us. It was so fun getting to know everyone. We got a chance to have our own space, but also at the same time, we weren't packed to the brim. And then in Costa Rica, we just had one roommate the entire time, because if you notice on EF's site, there are trips that say Ultimate Plus. And what that means is you just will have one roommate the entire time, upgraded hotels, and that way you know, feel comfortable just having the room, you know, mostly to yourself. I mean, yeah, with just one other roommate. And so I got to see the two differences. I'm sure every trip is different, just where you go, but just know going into it that you're gonna click with some people. On the first trip, we got to choose the roommates the whole time. On the second trip, the tour guide chose it from day one, and that's who we stuck with the whole time. So I got really lucky in both instances to really click with people. So EF does give you a chance, if this doesn't sound up your alley, if you just wanted to completely room alone, or if you had a friend going, you can obviously say ahead of time, hey, I've got this friend, you know, we just want to room together. You can pay a little extra to just have like a 2-bedroom if you're not a part of the Ultimate Plus. If you're part of the Ultimate Plus, you don't have to worry about that. Or if you just want to completely room alone, then you can pay a little bit extra for that too. So they give you the flexibility. If you're someone that just wants their own space, wants their own bathroom, totally fine. EF does give those options too. So that's what I would say about the group situation. There is somebody for everybody, so that should be fun for you to just know going into it. You'll find some people around your age, or, you know, similar hobbies or interests or careers. Rooming situation can be different for any trip, but you'll get to know everybody and feel comfortable. And then obviously they keep females with, you know, with each other, and the males with each other as well. And they can pay extra to either be by yourself or be with just one other person, you know, whatever you so choose. All right, excursions or free time, or just what we did really during the trip. EF does a really cool thing. On each trip, you'll see on their website, you can add excursions for an extra cost. And then even to take it a step above that, your tour director might have some other things that they suggest either ahead of time or when you get to that destination to do as a group, or just, hey, you know, if you've got some downtime, go ahead and do these. So with both trips, I purchased all the excursions, and then for my Egypt one upcoming, I did the same thing. And most of the group also did purchase the excursions. Few of them said, oh, I've already seen that, or that, you know, I don't really want to do that, so they kind of did their own thing. So you totally have the option to do that, but I would highly, highly recommend going on as many excursions as you want. Obviously, they do a great job of choosing them for a reason. They're really awesome things to do in those cities, so highly recommend doing those. And again, you just can pay up front, and then that way they buy your tickets ahead of time. You don't have to stress about that when you get to these cities and try to wait in line for anything. EF already does all of that, which is so convenient. Second part of that would be free time. How much free time do I have? How much, you know, running around can I do outside of the trip's itinerary? So you'll notice on every trip they have the days, you know, kind of planned out for you. You'll notice usually like one of the days, and if you're spending like 2 or 3 days in the city, one of the days is going to be super planned, super packed with stuff that either the tour director or EF have already set up, or usually the second or third day are kind of open for you to decide. So again, sometimes the tour director will say, hey, go ahead and, you know, if you want to check out these things, do this, or you have free time to do what you want. And that's what I loved about it too. I never felt like I was caught up in an itinerary and had to follow every single thing. I felt like truly, yes, I did have a planned day or two, but then I also got plenty of time in that city to see what I wanted. I never went alone to anything, so that was nice. You'll find people that have common ground with you. Now, I will say for Costa Rica, it was a little more packed, and in a good way. It was very, you know, structured to where, hey, we're doing water rafting in the morning, and we're going to dinner later that evening. So you might have like lunch in between there to do by yourself, but Costa Rica, obviously those more action-packed trips are gonna be a little more go, go, go. Where in Italy and Greece, obviously there's a ton of stuff to do, ton of restaurants to see. So yeah, in the morning we go to a museum, but then in the evening we'd have like the whole night to ourselves. So it just depends on what kind of trip you go on. It might be really packed for, you know, some days, but I guarantee you'll get enough free time on pretty much any trip you take. I've talked to multiple people that have been with EF, and they all agree that you do get a decent amount of free time. All right, let's talk about food or meals or anything like that is included with the trips. So I would say it also depends on the trip. The Ultimate Plus itinerary, you're gonna have some more included meals. That's what I loved about Costa Rica is I literally think I paid for like 3 lunches and 2 dinners. That's it, over a 10-day span. So the Ultimate Plus itinerary do a really good job of providing meals pretty much every time you turn around. For the Italy and Greece trip, not so much, but it was in a good way. Like probably around half the time we were doing dinners together. Most of them I did have to pay for, and lunches, some of them would be provided as well, but again, it all depends on the trip. They will tell you how much to budget a day and how many meals are included ahead of time. Your welcome dinner when you first get in, depending on when you travel in, it might not be the first night, it might be the second night once everybody's settled in. You'll have a welcome dinner, which is so nice, and then you'll have a farewell dinner on the last night of the trip. So usually they're delicious. They're like a 4-course meal, you know, an appetizer, main course, dessert, and some drinks. So that's really nice. So I feel like they do provide, you know, a really good resource for you to get food along the trip. And like I said, with the non-Ultimate Plus trips, like my Italy and Greece one, I had to pay a lot out of pocket for that just because, again, only those 2 meals were included. Besides, we had 2 excursions that did have a meal included. But again, I was pretty much paying for it when I paid for the excursion. Now, this is the good part though, because you can go to a really bougie lunch or dinner and spend a lot of money, or you can go somewhere low-key and kind of control how much you spend, which is really nice. So again, they're gonna tell you how much to budget. You can look up the local currency, how much that converts to. Obviously, Europe is a little bit cheaper most of the time than it is here, so it is nice. You get a lot more bang for your buck over there, and Costa Rica was the same deal. Most of our meals, when I did have to pay for them, were less than $10 with a drink, so that was really nice, you know, on the both of those trips. So again, make sure to budget, you know, plenty of money for that food, and depending how bougie you are, how much you like to eat throughout the trip, it all depends on your style when it comes to eating. So that's what I would suggest about meals on the trip, and usually anywhere from $20 to $100 a day, depending on what we did. And also that brings me to souvenirs and spending money and like, well, how much should I bring? Again, that's so difficult, you know, to say because I'm not really a souvenir person. I collect ornaments, and I had a few things that I saw that I couldn't pass up, but I'm not the type to kind of bring stuff home. But I know a lot of the people on the trip really took their time, found postcards or found fun things for their family. So again, if you're the type that likes to get those little trinkets and get the things to take home, great, then budget for that. And if you're not, then again, you might spend a little bit more. Like myself, I wanted to get dessert, you know, anytime I did, or some drinks when I could. So again, it's all dependent on what type of spender you are. But I would say on a low end for lunch, dinner, maybe an excursion, I probably spent, I don't know, $40 a day with all of that combined. And then on the high end, maybe like $100 a day, just depending on, you know, maybe it is a $50 lunch or, you know, dinner or something. And then I'm paying for also to get into a museum, which was $20 to $30. So it all depends. I think EF says anywhere from like $60 to $100 to budget every day. Some days you'll be spending a lot less. Some days you'll be spending about that. It's going to be different for every trip, but again, just know going into it that you will have to pay for most of the meal. Again, when you're looking at convenience of them EF booking your flights and hotels and transportation, I mean, that's going to be the easiest part of the trip to pay for. Another common question I got was, you know, how did you find out your flight information, your hotels? Did they book everything for you? How did that work? Yes, EF did everything for me. So about 30 days before your trip, you will be added to a Facebook group that introduces you to everybody, and then you will also be given your flight and hotel information. So it was really cool. All I did was get that information. I got the confirmation number, and I downloaded the airlines app. The first trip I flew Delta, and then the second trip I flew United, so it just depends. Obviously, they had international carriers each time I went there when I was on my connecting flights, but getting out of the US, they're major airlines, very comfortable. I got to rack up some points, you know, from those trips, so that was nice. And all I did was download the airlines app, plugged in my information, got to check in myself, and got to do everything from there. So again, EF chose the times. They chose really convenient times too. You know, like decent times in the morning or in the afternoon, that was really convenient. shorter layovers. I think the longest layover was like 4 hours, which again, pretty typical when you're going on an international trip. Gave me plenty of time to get through customs and get my bags and everything like that. So I never felt like I was scrambling or the flight sucked or anything like that. I mean, everything was very straightforward and pretty much what I would have booked if it was myself. Same thing with the hotels. About 30 days before your trip, you will see all of the hotels, which was awesome to give my family, you know, just for safety reasons, and then also to plan ahead. I was Googling all of the hotels just to see how nice they were, and I mean, EF puts us up in some really great places. So they'll give you all that information about 30 days before. You get to plan ahead and just kind of map out, again, if you had any other excursion you wanted to do, kind of see how far the hotels were from everything and then go from there. But so easy that EF plans that flight, plans the hotels, and then the transportation was the biggest thing. Every time I stepped off the airplane and got into the main airport, you know, I got to be greeted by, you know, the group, and then also by a very large tour bus each time. So it was really convenient, again, to step off the airplane with already everything figured out for you. You know, a lot of the times you're scrambling to get an Uber, or you gotta go, you know, figure it out with your family or friends, how everybody's gonna get everywhere. With this, EF makes it so easy to just hop on that bus. They were air conditioned, very comfortable. And then from there, they would take us to the hotels and anywhere that we were all going together. So for example, excursions, the bus would take us everywhere we needed to go. There were some times that I did take a taxi or an Uber if we did anything outside of what the group was doing. But again, very similar to here. You know, just either using the Uber app, or they'll tell you like the taxi information and how to get in and what to expect to pay. Transportation provided mostly the whole time was amazing. For example, in Greece, we had to take some ferries, some like 5+ hour ferries. The minute we stepped off of that ferry, it was chaos of everybody trying to figure out cars and where to go and what everybody was getting in. And all we did was just walk straight to our bus and got on and made our way to the islands. It was fantastic. And it's cool because on my Costa Rica trip, we had the same bus driver the whole time. So it felt very comfortable to leave our stuff on the bus. We knew it was going to be locked up. We knew, you know, nobody was going to get on the bus because he, you know, stopped and parked and was usually, you know, hanging on the bus waiting for us to get done. Italy and Greece, since we were traveling through different cities, we didn't have the same bus driver, but again, felt safe leaving our stuff in the bus, even in the major cities. And even when you're traveling in between cities, like to Florence and Rome, we took a flight. Again, EF books that flight. They printed out our tickets for us. We didn't even have to like download the app this time around. And again, the convenience of that probably be the same price or more from what I paid for this trip. So convenience kind of pays for itself in that regard. Another thing I wanted to touch on is the tour guide and who comes with you during the trip. So for the first trip, Italy and Greece, we did have a tour guide. He was actually from Rome, and he had been with EF for like 15 years. He had been a tour guide in Spain and Italy, and he had been to Greece several times, really mostly around the world. So he stayed in our hostels and hotels with us. He went on every excursion. It was cool because every time we got on the bus, he would take the microphone and just kind of explain what we were doing, some history about it, maybe while we were driving, explaining kind of where we were. So we definitely had a lot of education on these trips, which is really cool. I love learning the history while I'm there and kind of a little bit more about what we're going to be doing. Or, hey, for tomorrow, you guys need to bring a towel and a bathing suit, or here's how you guys need to dress for tomorrow, or bring tennis shoes, whatever. So tour guides are awesome about communicating that. Again, very helpful and knowledgeable. The best thing is he spoke Italian. So we're out here trying to find everything, and he was able to speak to the locals or figure out things, or just kind of be our go-to when we needed some help around the cities, if it was translating or if it was converting money or just knowing where to go. We felt so comfortable with him because he was from there. We felt extremely safe the entire time. And the fact that he like stayed in the same places was even better. Second trip in Costa Rica, same thing. Jonathan, he was an amazing tour guide. He was from Costa Rica, so he knew the lay of the land. Same thing, stayed in our same hotels and same locations, and always did things with us. He gave us a history lesson every time we got on the bus, and it was amazing. It was just so informative and so knowledgeable. Same thing, he spoke Spanish, so that was a really comfortable feeling. He knew, you know, hey, don't go to this shop, they're gonna charge more, or, you know, don't pay anything more than that, or hey, you really need your tennis shoes tomorrow, it's gonna be a little messy, so maybe bring, you know, some shoes or clothes that can get dirty for whatever excursion you're doing. So again, the tour guides made you feel very safe the entire time. We had some interesting stories be passed around with both tour guides, so it was really fun just to hear their experiences. And you know, you're spending 10 to 20 to sometimes 30 days with these people, so it's really important that you do have a great tour guide. I've heard all of EFs are, you know, amazing, so again, just makes me excited to keep traveling with this company, since they do give us some awesome people to travel with that know the lay of the land, they keep you safe, and they're just there for your protection. Alright, so in this video, I have told you a little bit more about EF, what they provide, where all they go, how to make payment plans and how to pay for this trip, and how to save and make traveling a priority. Told you about the tour guides, the different locations, the hotels, and the rooming situations, and just a lot of different things about EF. So please check out their site. Again, I do have a $100 off code, UAHannah100, to get you $100 off the trip. The best times to book are probably around their summertime. They do have like a summer sale usually, and then Black Friday's the absolute best time to book. They, same thing like retailers, have a huge Black Friday sale, so I'd definitely check that out around the November time period. I'll be posting on my social media of any time a sale pops up, and again, you can use the $100 even off of the sale price of the trip. And the cool thing is, once you do take your first trip or multiple trips, you get a repeat traveler discount, so an extra $250 off of any sale or any discounts that you do have on the trip. So really cool to continue to travel with EF, because they do reward you for taking more trips. So hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative for you, and please consider EF to travel with. If you have any questions, you know, please feel free to ask me or comment or reach out. However you want to do that, I'm happy to answer it, and cannot wait to follow up with these videos with reviews of Italy and Greece, and then also Costa Rica, and then Egypt once I go. So stay tuned for those and check out EF's site. And thank you again for watching and supporting.